Imagine building your dream home, but instead of using a strong foundation, you don't use a foundation at all. Walls creak, floors crack. It's kind of scary, right? Well, today I'm here to help. I will be talking about how to lay the foundation of a house as well as the general contracting process itself. Hi, I'm Jude Gonterman, and this is General Contracting. So, a little bit about my mentor before I get into it. So his name is Doug Zoller. He's a general contractor for Zoller Homes, which is his own company, and he builds custom homes in South Orange County, such as San Clemente, Laguna, Newport, all of the South County towns. How I got in cahoots with him is through my dad. My dad is his project manager, and he thought it would be a great idea for me to work with Doug because he's a general contractor, and I could get easy access to these job sites. Why construction? So when I was younger, my dad would always take me on these job sites, and that's what made me choose this profession for my internship because it's something that I fell in love with, and I love the idea of building something from the ground up and starting from scratch. So my work experience. So I had a total of 2 meetings for 11 hours, and I was able to get to multiple job sites in San Clemente and Laguna, and this kind of gave me the overview of what general contracting entails. So here are some work experience photos from a San Clemente uh, residence. This is the Pilati residence, and you can see the blueprints, the footings, the shorings, and the rebar and plumbing. So the path to general contracting. So first off, you got to get hired on a firm. So the construction world is kind of a totem pole process or system to where you got to build your way up, and it really helps while you're building your way up to pick up a trade along the way, whether it's electrical or plumbing or drywall, just so you can really improve your skills. And something that um, really boosts you when getting hired is having a college degree, and this could be in engineering or construction management. And this just raises your roof and your ceiling to get a higher paycheck at the end of the day and just get a better job overall. So here's my process of how to lay the foundation of a home. So step one is winning the bid. So first off, a bid is where you give the homeowner a accurate estimate of how much it would cost. So the homeowner would approach about 3 to 4, maybe 5 construction firms and the general contractors of this firm and ask them for a bid. And then you would send this bid to your subs or your subcontractors, and they would put on their labor tax and their material tax just so they could see how much it would cost for this home. And then on top of that, you would put your construction firm tax, and this would and then this would add up for your total a sum of how much it would cost for this home. And then you would send it back to the homeowner, and then she or he could decide on what firm they're going to go with, and hopefully you will win this bid and you can start the building process. But before you start building, you need to level the site, so you need to grate the ground and excavate any trees or slopes to make sure everything's flat and compact, so you can have an easy building process. So applying for permits. So before you even start building, you need to apply for permits. And different cities have different permits. And not applying for permits, unfortunately, will cause delays in the building process. So you need to, and you should apply for permits before you start. So one unique permit for this project that I went to was the fire mod permit, and this permit just regulates that none of the outside materials used on the house are flammable because the hillside that this home was or this lot was laying on was a brush. So if there was a wildfire, the outside of the house or the house itself would catch on fire. Digging the footings. So once you get your permits, you can start digging the footings, which are essentially the groundwork and the dimensions of your house. And these footings will eventually be laid in with rebar and and concrete. Then the foundation can be poured. But as you see in the picture, where the larger section is in the middle of the screen, and there's almost like a plus sign. That is where some of the major pressure points will be, because it's the garage and the pad will be there. So the footings will be on the dimensions of the house and where some more weight will be. Placing the rebar. As I said earlier, you will place the rebar within the footings and tie them up. And this just makes sure that when you're pouring the concrete, the rebar will hold the concrete in one and make it one solid concrete block, instead of having multiple different like moving concrete blocks. So it just makes it stronger and sturdier. Now the rough and plumbing. So the rough and plumbing is essentially all your lower level plumbing, or the plumbing that is underground, such as your bathrooms, your showers, your sinks, pretty much all the plumbing that connects to the sewer system or underground water system. And this plumbing will be or this plumbing will have concrete poured over it. So you need to do a test first. So in order to test this, you do a pressure test and you put water in it and run it through. And if there are no cracks or leaks, you're good. Because if there is a crack or leak, and you pour, that you will have to chip away the concrete, and it will be a big issue later on in the build. So pouring the footings. So pouring the footings, the first thing you must do is schedule a load of concrete. Now this is sorry. So you must schedule the load of concrete. So this must be done in about a few days or a week in advance, just so they could prepare the concrete. And then on top of scheduling a concrete, you need to schedule a deputy inspector so they can test the concrete and give you the right of way to pour. So once the deputy inspector does his test, you can start pouring. And you unfortunately cannot have any air in the concrete, which would cause for deformities or cavities in the concrete. So there's a machine that vibrates, and it gets put in the concrete and vibrates, and these air bubbles rise, causing for a denser concrete that is stronger. And something that also is happening in this photo, as well as the footings, is a retaining wall, because this homeowner wanted a retaining wall. So in the top left, you see the studs for the wall. So they had to pour the wall, and then after multiple layers of pouring, they would put in the vibrating machine, and this would rise all the air bubbles out, as I said before, causing for a denser concrete wall. Placing the steel. So when it comes to placing the steel, not all homes or foundations need this, just some that cause for a heavier duty foundation, such as this home. So the steel just essentially just makes it more stronger and sturdier for a house to be built on it. So the vapor barrier. So the vapor barrier essentially makes sure that no moisture can seep up through the foundation and damage the pad or the flooring itself, which unfortunately would cause rotting or other issues after this home is built. So the vapor barrier just makes sure no moisture can seep through. So the final pour. The final pour, when pouring, you need to schedule another load of trucks and another deputy inspector, and do the same thing. Test it. He gives you the go ahead. You can start pouring. So when pouring, you need to make sure that it's the ground is level along with the footings, so that the concrete won't shift after you pour it. And then as you're pouring, you need to smooth it out. So one guy will be pouring, one guy will be making sure it's denser with the vibrating machine, and then the other guy will be raking it out and smoothing it so that it's a flat piece of concrete, which will be easier to build. And then when this pad is smoothed out, it will take about a day or two to sit, depending on the weather. So it's sunny, about a day and a half. Or if it's overcast and raining, unfortunately, it would take about another day. So about 1.5 to 3 days for the pad and the foundation to dry. Would I become a general contractor? Yes, of course. As I said before, it's something that I grew up being on job sites, and something that I fell in love with at a young age. So 100% yes, I would become a general contractor. So now that you have these details to build your dream home, I hope you have a very strong foundation and your dream home is just as you want it to be. Thank you.